From the very first moments of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, one question quietly hangs over the entire episode: is Dunk actually a knight? Or is he playing a role he was never meant to claim? On the surface, the story tells us that Ser Arlan of Pennytree knighted his squire on his deathbed.
Am I to be a knight one day, sir? As you are?
But when you start paying attention to what the episode shows, rather than what Dunk says, a far more complicated and fascinating truth begins to emerge. This isn't just a question of honor. It's the foundation of Dunk's entire identity and possibly the central lie that shapes everything to come. The missing knighting, what the show deliberately hides. One of the smartest storytelling choices in Episode 1 is what it refuses to show us. We get repeated flashbacks of Ser Arlan, his sickness, his regrets, and his quiet dignity. But there is never a single frame where he places a sword on Dunk's shoulders.
I was squire to Ser Arlan of Pennytree since I was a boy.
In a franchise known for showing pivotal moments explicitly, this absence is deafening. In Westeros, knighthood is ritualized, witnessed, and remembered. If Dunk had truly been knighted, it would be the most emotionally powerful moment of his life, and yet it exists only in his words. That omission isn't accidental. It's the show inviting us to question whether Dunk himself believes the story, or simply needs it to survive. Ser Arlan's values, the biggest clue. Every memory of Ser Arlan reinforces one critical idea. He took knighthood seriously. This wasn't a man who bent tradition for comfort. He believed in earning honor through suffering, discipline, and proof. That belief clashes directly with the idea that he would knight Dunk out of pity on his deathbed with no witnesses. There's an Easter egg hidden in Arlan's dialogue that reinforces this. When he speaks about the past, he consistently frames knighthood as something proven in action, not gifted through sentiment. That framing quietly undermines Dunk's claim without ever calling him a liar outright. Dunk's behavior doesn't match a true knight. If Dunk had been legitimately knighted, Episode 1 would look very different. Instead of confidence, we see hesitation. Instead of certainty, we see planning. Dunk doesn't stride toward the tourney as a man entitled to his place. He weighs the risks like someone gambling everything on a single roll of the dice. His inner conflict is subtle but constant. He's not afraid of losing. He's afraid of being exposed.
I thank you, but I have matters to attend.
What matters of the edge, I've no doubt.
That fear only makes sense if his knighthood exists in a gray area, something claimed, not confirmed. The tourney is a desperate gamble. Dunk's plan isn't just to compete, it's to force reality to catch up to his lie. One victory would retroactively legitimize him. In Westeros, success rewrites truth. A champion doesn't need paperwork. He needs witnesses. This is a deeply George R.R. Martin idea. Power and legitimacy aren't moral concepts. They're social agreements. Dunk understands that instinctively, even if he can't articulate it. The tourney isn't about glory. It's about survival. Egg's introduction, a mirror, not a sidekick. Egg enters the story as comic relief, but his role is far more symbolic. He appears bald, nameless. Their meeting isn't coincidence. It's destiny shaped by shared hunger. There's a quiet Easter egg in Egg's confidence. He treats Dunk like a knight long before anyone else does. That belief matters more than official recognition. In a story obsessed with legitimacy, Egg becomes the first person to validate Dunk's identity, even unknowingly. Why Dunk initially rejects Egg? Dunk's refusal isn't cruelty, it's fear. Taking on a squire means declaring himself publicly as a knight. That commitment raises the stakes. When he tosses Egg a coin, it's an attempt to delay destiny, to stay hidden, just a little longer. But destiny doesn't accept bribes. Sir, Dondarrion legacy means nothing without power. Dunk's encounter with Sir Manfred Dondarrion is brutal for a reason. This is Dunk learning that legacy doesn't survive without status. Arlan's service means nothing now because Arlan died poor and forgotten. This moment foreshadows one of the series' central themes. Honor without power is fragile. Dunk has the values of a knight, but none of the protection. And that makes him vulnerable. The Laughing Storm, respect without proof. Sir Lionel Baratheon is the opposite of Dondarrion. He likes Dunk. He respects him. But respect alone isn't enough to vouch for knighthood. This interaction highlights a cruel truth. Personal character doesn't translate into social legitimacy. It's another reminder that Dunk exists between worlds. Morally worthy, legally invisible. The shooting star, a quiet prophecy. The shooting star at the episode's end isn't just symbolism. In Westerosi lore, celestial signs often mark the rise of unlikely figures. Egg recognizes it instinctively as good fortune. Not because of superstition, but because hope is something poor people learn to see everywhere. The rich miss it because they're sheltered. The poor see it because they sleep under open skies. That contrast defines Dunk and Egg's journey going forward. The real meaning of the elm tree. Sleeping beneath the elm tree isn't just practical, it's thematic. Trees in A Song of Ice and Fire often represent roots, memory, and legacy. Dunk has none of those yet. But this tree becomes the place where his future begins. It's where Egg chooses him. It's where Dunk stops running. It's where the lie becomes a calling. Why Dunk accepts Egg, the true knighting moment. When Dunk finally accepts Egg as his squire, that is the real knighting. Not by sword, but by responsibility. Dunk steps into the role Ser Arlan once held, protector, teacher, anchor. This mirrors the eulogy Dunk gave earlier. Every promise he makes to Egg is something Arlan once gave him. Purpose, structure, dignity.
Take me with you, sir. Please.
And what might your mother say to that?
Not much.
Whether or not Dunk was knighted by ceremony no longer matters, because he's living the role fully. Final thoughts, was Dunk knighted? So did Ser Arlan knight Dunk? Maybe. Probably not. But that's not the point. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms isn't asking whether Dunk earned a title. It's asking whether titles matter more than actions. By the end of Episode 1, Dunk may still lack witnesses, but he has something rarer in Westeros. A boy who believes in him, a path forward, and the courage to keep going anyway. And in this world, that's how legends begin. And that's the real question a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms leaves us with. Not whether Dunk was knighted by a sword, but whether a man becomes a knight the moment he chooses honor over fear. Episode 1 isn't about proving the past. It's about stepping into a future that hasn't been earned yet, and daring to believe you belong there. Because from this moment on, every choice Dunk makes will either expose the lie or transform it into truth. And with Egg at his side, the road ahead won't just test his skill with a blade, it'll test whether the world is ready to recognize the knight he's becoming. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, do you think Ser Arlan truly knighted Dunk, or did Dunk knight himself through his actions? The adventure has only just begun, and trust me, the next episode changes everything. Thank you for watching.
If you prove worth your keep, you'll have clothes on your back and food.